We are back here on Girl Talk. Yeah, we're talking cars. Scott Mallon is here, and we're talking about cars and cold and service with you. How's it going?
Great, Debbie. How are you?
I've been telling you all my dramatic stories. Talk to me about the cold. It does a whole number on cars, doesn't it?
Well, first of all, we're not used to the cold, so it's unusual
there is
for us.
that.
First of all, we never turn our heat on hardly, and then all of a sudden people are turning their heat on. They're getting smells. They're getting they're not working at all. So usually when a car's heat is not working, it's usually low on coolant.
Okay.
So that's something that you want to check and make sure. Or just call us and we'll be glad to check it out. But that's in other things with cold weather is tires. You know, I probably average 9 cars a day that come in and have a low tire pressure light on because of the cold weather changing it 2 or 3 pounds. And of course, we just adjust the tire pressures and the light goes away.
Well, let me ask you just kind of an overall basic question about prevention. How about this? Does it make sense during the change of seasons to just do sort of a preemptive strike, if you will, to come in and just have, I don't know if it's a checkup?
You know, that's a great question. What we do, it's called a courtesy check.
Okay.
And I see it more than for older people that don't get out, and the people aren't getting out and putting very high miles on their car right now. And it's a free inspection. So basically what you do is you call us, make an appointment, we bring it in, we'll check all the tire pressure, top off all the fluids, and do all that. And it's a free, we do it, it's, you know, it goes back when we were growing up, we used to go to a full service station.
Okay.
And we go in there and they check they'd look under your hood and do all that.
Yes, good
It's
point.
the same thing, but it's just what we do in our shop and it's free.
Well, it's funny because my dad lives here and we have his car. And that would be a really good thing to do, wouldn't it? Because we don't drive it all that much.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing customers getting oil changes once a year now.
Okay.
You know, which I used to see them every 6 months.
What's the deal with driving a car, not driving a car? Low mileage doesn't necessarily mean good stuff, does it? I mean,
Correct.
Cars need to be driven?
Absolutely.
Okay, talk me through this.
Okay, so if you're not driving that much, then, you know, if you don't want to go out, then drive around the neighborhood. You know, if you live in a plantation, drive around the plantation. Get the car running. It needs to be, oil needs to go through it. It needs to run around. If a car sits for 5-6 days with all the computers and stuff in cars today, they can go dead.
It's really interesting that you say that because, again, with COVID, I was used to driving miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles, and I found that I hadn't even been out for 2 weeks. And Mike, my husband, was the same way. He's like, you've got to get out and drive the car. You've got to get out and drive this car.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't, then you're going to wake up one morning, your car's not going to start. Like I said, there's modules that stay on, you know, in the newer cars. There's so many things to them, you know, with electronics and stuff. So even if you don't want to go out, just start it and let it run for a little bit. It'll at least get the oil through and running, and your car will feel a lot better.
I love it, and your car will feel a lot better. That makes so much sense. With oil changes now, is there a protocol or a routine that most cars are on, or is it just like a patient? It is exactly like you have your cars are your patients.
If you don't put 3,000 miles a year on a car, once a year, you know, we need to see it just to check. If you're driving, you know, more than every 6 months, but that's what we're seeing is the people that I used to see a lot more, I'm seeing a lot less just because they're not driving their cars anywhere.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but you should at least get it, you know, you need to get fluid in it at least once a year. Don't go 2 years and bring it by and we'll be glad to serve.
Can I ask just this is such a naive question. When you talk about putting fluids in a car, what exactly are you checking and what am I putting?
So you have coolant,
okay,
which is your radiator and your overflow tank and stuff like that. And we talked about that. That's if it's not topped off or it's low, you could create where you won't get heat in your car.
Is that when in the 1960s and 70s you would always be going up the mountain, you'd have to stop and pour a Dixie cup full of water in your...
And it's highly pressurized and they always told you not to take the cap off. Yes,
exactly.
That's true. And then of course your oil.
Okay, oil.
Which is just, you know, check your level and stuff like that. Transmission fluid.
Okay.
Washer fluid. People don't think about washer fluid.
Until it rains and then...
Well, they're going to travel for the
holidays.
And they're going to head up to Ohio.
Yeah.
And it's just going to have water in it and it'll freeze and they're going to go, oh. So those top off all the fluids, check all it. Tire pressures are very important. You know, if the temperature's gotten low and your tires dropped 5 or 6 pounds and you're driving it like that, it can do uneven wear on the tires, and it could be, you know.
You know, Scott, you know how we tell if we're having a really fun, good interview? When I look down and I'm like, it says 0. We've run out of time. You're super fun to have on. You're really interesting, and we have these great takeaways and tips. So thank you for taking time out of your day. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Girl Talk.